G'day everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me because usually this setup was designed for the horrifying internet in Australia, and now I'm experiencing the wonders of the internet in the continental North America, from Vancouver specifically. So hello. It's cold. It's real cold. Like, I cannot begin to tell you what it was like going from 35 days of over 35 degrees to 3 degrees. That was horrifying. I don't know what you people did to the sun or why it chose to avoid you in the way that it has. But I am beginning to understand why most people spend a lot of time indoors. That said, it's beautiful here. I saw snow. I was very excited to see that. It looked like some animals had peed in it, but it meant a lot to me. You know, it was an experience for me to do. So g'day everyone in the chat who's saying hello. Slenice, wonderful to see you. So some of you asking whether it's Scrivo on another bender. Like, Scrivo obviously has proven to us that he can't handle doing a stream while he's intoxicated, which is why he doesn't show up to the second day of tournaments ever. He just, leaves it for everybody else, which is fine. We love you, Scrivo. You're beautiful. But look, if you're a subscriber or a Patreon member or anything like that, you're a freaking legend. And the good news for anyone along kind of like what I assume is the West Coast is now you've got a show that's roughly in your time frame and not at stupid o'clock in the morning, which is wonderful. That's a good thing to have, right? So today, this is only going to be a relatively short one. We're not going to go forever. I'm just going to have a little bit of a chat, check that everything's working, which so far it looks like it is. But if there's issues with sound or things get a little bit jittery, it'd be awesome if you could let me know, because then I can just make sure I have to have a play around. Like I said, this entire thing was designed to handle the shit house internet of the land down under. So this is pretty much it for me for the next couple of years. So if you have any events anywhere in Canada or the US, in fact, even over in the UK, it's a lot easier to get to them. So I'm planning on swinging over everywhere that I can get to, anywhere that I can get a ticket to, or if you want some streaming done, maybe we could have a little bit of chat, maybe do a bit of that. I know coming up in Canada, for those who are local, you got the West Coast GT. I'm signed up for that. Apparently I think as of today, there's 5 or 6 tickets left, which is really awesome. That's great. I can't wait to smash face with stunties. But today we're just gonna have a little bit of a chat about a few things that were happening back home, just as I left. And the big one was the South Australian GT, the SA GT. For those playing at home, I think it's the first time they've ever done one, but it was really good, very competitive. A lot of like South Australia, for those who aren't aware, is kind of a bit like Tasmania in that it's a part of Australia, but is it? So a lot of people would have had to travel a really long way to get there. It's about a 24, 25 hour drive from Brisbane, 18 or 17 hours from Sydney, 3 or 4 hours from Melbourne. But yeah, a number of people would have had to travel for it. But just having a quick breakdown, right? If we have a look at these stats, this is what LLV did up prior to the event. So obviously, for those who maybe can't see quite clearly, Flesh Eater Courts and Skaven making up the majority there, 6 and 5 respectively. And given the win rate, you'd probably expect them to do quite well. I mean, Flesh Eater Courts have been absolutely dominating since they kind of came into the whole universe. Sorry, Jim980 saying the problem is that my avatar needs to be updated. I can confirm that Scrivo is currently madly scribbling away, doing me up not only a Canadian version of me, but an Aussie abroad version. So that's coming, don't worry. I promise you it's in the pipes. If you need, just really encourage Scrivo, send him like lots of hugs and kisses, because we need him to know that we love him, even though he obviously has a problem with drinking Guinness. But looking at the stats breakdown there, like, it's pretty massive. Like, you look at the upswing of Skaven and Flesh Eater Courts in representation compared to what their world representation was. It's insane. But I mean, Beastclaw Raiders, 3 players, so 6% of the whole thing. They doubled what they usually are. I mean, they have a shit house success rate in the meta, so that's a bit rough for them. And I mean, Legions of Nagash dropping off a little bit. Sylvaneth's still hanging in there. I'm surprised, though, to see that Ironjaw's dropped off and Daughters of Cain too. Now, going into it, like, if you have a look down the side there, you can see that really the daughters were by and far the favourites to take it, which is obviously because they just keep dominating everyone, right? Like, Daughters of Cain are kind of horrifying at the moment, but it seems like they're starting to slip out of favour, maybe because people don't want to paint up like 60 goddamn witch elves, and I can understand that. I can understand not wanting to do that because that would make you a shithouse person. Oh yes, Arkihan? Yes. Yeah, this is an Aussie stream. So this is an Aussie in Canada, or the continent of North America. And I'm going to be bringing you everything that I can do, see, meet, and find from all over Canada and North America over the next couple of years. So it's basically like a War Dolly Wanderer is what's going on here. Ark, great. But to be fair, it's probably going to be Arco, just for the record, because Australians can't end a nickname on a consonant. It's got to end on a vowel. So that's pretty much that. Thanks, man. A little quiet. Good. Let me just see if I can just tug them numbers up just a bee's dick, just to give it a little bit more volume in there, and we'll see if that just pumps it just a tiny little bit on that one, and a little bit onto the master there as well. So let me know if that's just made it a little bit better, or if now I'm K is I don't know if K is a vowel. I think that if you had to buy a very silent vowel. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll take it. But you are now Arco to me. Just like Scrivo had to become Scrivo, you're now Arco. So looking at everything that happened in the SAGT, and anyone who was following it, you'll notice that there was the top three, unsurprisingly, were from three very competitive factions at the moment. Top place went to Dan Brewer with his Skaven. Second place, I believe, went to Flesh Eater Courts. And third place, unless I'm mistaken, I think it went to Daughters of Cain or Mixed Order. So I know that a lot of people were obviously expecting Flesh Eaters to get the top spot. And to be fair, they're fucking silly at the moment. Like, just pants on head, feast day is unnecessary. And all those people going out and building Gristlegore lists, you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror, because you're a shit person. There's something wrong with you on a clinical level, and that makes you a douchebag. However, that said, that they have amazing lore, and I can imagine why everybody wants to be playing them, because Flesh Eaters are just really cool. Also up there, I guess doing well being Flesh Eaters isn't surprising, but the Skaven, I just want to have a quick chat. Yeah, Mixed Order, I think it was. The New Bretons are pretty good. They certainly are. Yeah, they're doing good. They got a lot going on. It'll be interesting to see where they go over the next little while, because obviously there's going to be stuff happen. The fact that they have so many things that can be monsters and eat the goddamn heck out of anything that they see, it's pretty messed up. Yes, there was a Dragon, Frost Phoenix, and a whole lot of stuff. Yes, Uggs and Starbucks, you are 100% correct. If you're playing Gristlegore, you're the kind of person who goes out wearing Ugg boots, track pants, and a hoodie, probably with some kind of like stain around here because you couldn't be bothered cleaning it up or washing it. And then you go and you definitely get like a double shot, skinny, 0% spiced pumpkin latte. That's who you are if you play Gristlegore. And I'm also pretty sure that Shadowhammer, Liam back from Australia, is playing that. So yeah, that makes sense. Checks out. He does look good in a hat though, and a shirt tied around his waist. But speaking of us obviously living in the vegan latte, yes, wonderful. So speaking of us being here in the land of Skaven we're currently living in, because they are obviously dominating us. See Farsight, nice to see you. And it says juicy on the hoodie at 100%. Sorry, those who haven't caught up, we're currently discussing what a person who plays Gristlegore looks like, because they obviously are not as nice a people. And so oh god, oh yeah, gasoline fights. No, but see that means they're a beautiful person, and I think on the inside they're not a beautiful person. Now, as you can see, my good friend here just to my left, we are obviously in the time of the Skaven. All hail the Great Horned Rat. Dan Brewer took them to victory at SAGT. And I just want to say congratulations, Dan. He is definitely no longer a bridesmaid. There was a huge joke in the Australian community because Dan consistently came second or third, but missed out. And I know that this stung him once at a tournament. We both voted for each other. We constantly vote for each other for best sports because we play each other, and he's one of my favorite guys to play against. And one of us usually gets best sports just above the other one. And when we played each other at Sydney Slaughter 3 years ago, his vote for me for best player is what bumped me just above him. I think he was second, and so that made me first. And I picked the podium. So the joke is that he is always a bridesmaid, always coming second and third. But I think in this last year he's won a couple of times, which ruins the joke. And I think the big thing for him is he's always been a competitive player. He's always done really well, but it's been with shithouse armies. So he's always been playing like Eshin Allegiance or something like that. And so he's always pushing shit uphill. And now he has officially bought his first Age of Sigmar models, because almost every other model he's ever bought was pre-Age of Sigmar, so the world that was stuff. So congratulations on finally purchasing some models, and congratulations on finally playing with a battle tome. I'm excited to experience that myself. Still haven't yet, but you know, there's rumors of like some kind of order battle tome in the works maybe, and so perhaps that's going to be a thing, and then the Dispossessed will get a bit of love there. Yeah, the bridesmaid gets laid. Yes, 100% correct. Unfortunately, he's carrying home like trophies and a whole lot of best painted awards usually, so it makes it very hard to meet someone when you're laden with so many damn trophies. Now, I guess the other thing to talk about is that obviously Khorne are about to get a kind of a reinvention, which is awesome. They've been all right. They've been doing okay. I mean, they took out CanCon, biggest event in the world up to that point, with a Gore Pilgrims list. So they're obviously coming in hot. Reading the stuff that's coming out, I know that there were a lot of people disappointed about Wrathmongers. Personally, I'm kind of okay with it, because the amount of times that you've seen like Nagash, a literal like tabletop god, kill one of them and then just bisect himself from guts to eyeballs with his own sword or something because he knocked out one dude. It's kind of shit that like a 20-point model can kill a 800-point model like that, so I don't mind their change. It'll be interesting to see where their points go. I like the mortal wounds. I like everything about them. Obviously, though, Khorne players are raging about that, so which is natural. That's their baseline set is rage, so we can't blame them. That's just who they are. I dig their terrain piece. Like, what would Khorne be without some kind of sacrificial altar? The one thing I'm not loving, 120 per 5, sorry. Arco's just mentioning in that it looks like 120 per 5. If that's the case, that is amazing. And anyone whinging about their like nerf can go stick it up their ass, because that 120 for 5 of them, that's Arcanauts. That's 10 Arcanauts. Like, that's absolutely insane. That's cool though. They're good. They'll run forward, they'll get shot a bit, they'll do some mortal wounds, they'll die swinging. That's awesome. I like it. I think it's good. I also like that they say their own stuff doesn't affect them anymore. Like, they're kind of cool. 35 bucks for 5. I don't know what the I'm barely struggling to do Australian into Canadian dollars, so don't make me do that into it's yeah, $30,000 Australian. Exactly. Yep. That's what we pay. We have a lovely economy though. So, you know, for what it's worth, like, obviously we've got that nice minimum wage, which is why we need to pay a lot more for everything, including coffee. But yeah, I'm digging the Khorne stuff. I'm a little bit worried about these like endless prayers that they're getting, only because I like that they can't be dispelled. I like so much about them. The thing that I thought was going to be good is that they wouldn't be easy to cast. They'd be on like a 4 or a 5. But the fact that they're on a 3, 4, or 5, and then you can re-roll them if the Slaughter Priest is near the sacrificial thingy Maduvi lacquer in the middle. Not loving it. It'll depend what the mechanic is for losing them, because I just think one of the big things is how like when you look at those armies and you look at how they operate, those endless spells are a big threat to throw out there, but your opponent can deal with them if they have a caster. The fact that you can potentially put something out there and your opponent can't control it as well is the big thing for me. Like, casting an endless spell is always a double-edged sword. What if it comes back and it gets you? But if I'm the only one that can control it, shit, I'm going to throw them out left, right, and center. It's just like having more models on the field. So yeah, we'll see how they play out. I think that it would be very corny for your opponent to be able to control them, because you can see Khorne like lashing out and killing a bunch of enemies and then turning around and butchering some of his own guys who displeased him. So yeah, that's the one thing I hesitate with. I don't mind everything else about it. The only stuff I don't like is that they don't operate like an endless spell where I can win the priority roll and give the turn to you to move them first or something. That kind of just flicks a little funny. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. We'll see how it plays out though, because obviously it's Khorne and they need all the help they can get because they're an inferior chaos power. And people that play them obviously have some anger issues, like deep-seated inside them somewhere. We can't know for sure what happened that hurt them so bad, but obviously it's been something that they just can't abide. And that's okay. You know, we love them. They're special. They're beautiful. It's like exciting to see them getting some new stuff. I mean, they've had such an FAQ'd battle tome. They kind of need it. Yeah, you wish you could fight them with your endless spells, right? Just cover the board. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see their book, I think, because they've had a lot of changes. And also it's interesting to see how Blood Tithe changes too, which would be really cool. Anyone playing Khorne at the moment, like concerned for the changes or like keeping an eye on things? Because that, I think, is always my favorite thing when a book gets redone, like especially Stormcast, you know, whenever they get redone, seeing how people change their stuff. Also, another quick hot fun fact: Grimghast Reapers are for shit, and anyone who plays them is a piece of said shit. I've been at the receiving end of Grimghast Reapers twice this week, and yeah, it made me feel things I didn't want to feel. Afterwards, I had to take the little dolly and show where they touched me, and it was pretty much just everywhere, and it was pretty much just entirely unpleasant. It's not great, you know. They're savage when they're getting those rerolls. They're savage when they're getting +1 to wound, and then when they're just hacking everything apart, and then you kill a bunch of them, and then they just keep coming back. It's like, whew, getting Charlie in the Trees kind of Vietnam flashbacks. That said, the bloke I was playing was an absolute dead set legend, which kind of made it better. It made me feel good that they were hacking me apart because I was stoked. Yeah, you need a Gargant. The other thing I've heard is that 4 Chimeras is a good counter to them. They struggle with 4 Chimeras. Old mate Nagash over here apparently isn't a big fan of like tons and tons of Chimeras. He's a bit uppity about that. That said, I took on 4 Chimeras and blew them all away in a turn. So, you know, some people can handle that. Sometimes people are Nagash and they just can't. But yeah, it's kind of cool seeing all that stuff coming together. I think, like when we were at CanCon, of 220 players, there were 660 Grimghast Reapers taken, but only 100 of them were in a Nighthaunt army, which is kind of telling when you've got almost 550 whatever Grimghast Reapers all in Legions and Nagash. It's probably a sign that something needs to change. Personally, all I would do is I would like say that they have to be allies or remove the summonable keyword or something like that. That's really the big thing that kind of, I think, grinds people's gears on them, because just they're so insanely durable with a 4-up unrendable save to then be able to restore them like that. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, stomp on them with Gargants, do whatever you want. I think, like, I would always say to make them a primary target, take them out as early as you can, but at the end of the day, like, if they've got a command point and a general alive, they will just bring it back. And yes, 100%, someone is laughing at that they sold 660 War Dollies and hopefully are about to raise it. But that said, I genuinely don't know if there is like a correlation between money spent and like retail rules. I reckon I reckon there's 2 different departments. I reckon they're at opposite ends of the building and they like walk past and high-five each other on occasion, have no idea who they are. Otherwise, why would you release an Orc Codex with 6 wicked new vehicle sculpts and make those vehicles hot garbage and make Orc Boys the best thing in the 40k Orc Codex? Because then nobody needs to buy the new stuff, right? Like, there's just things like that. So yeah, so obviously Nagash tore a lot of stuff, and the other thing that people would not stop messaging me about and posting all over Twitter is this one. Obviously the whatever it looks like, the Chaos Dwarf. He looks short in stature. He's got the kind of medallion beard thing going on, dual hammers. Like it straight up looks like some kind of chaosy fire slayer. But the thing that I could not get over is the skeleton in the background of that looks like he really needs to pee. Danny Paints, 2nd month in a row. Mate, you bloody legend. You go on, take your right arm, give yourself a pat on the back. You've earned it. You're a ledge. But yeah, just having a look at that one there, like, I reckon the model looks great. I love the kind of the medallion beard, whether that's just a shield or a beard. Like, I hate to admit it because I know it's a Chaos model, but I absolutely bloody love it. It looks so awesome. If they release an army of that, I'll probably end up converting them into Dispossessed or something like that, just because I really do dig that look. Yeah, he was absolutely dying to get to the outhouse, 100%. Now, what it looks like is, you know, like when, I don't know, if we go back long enough, I remember being a kid, like in the bathroom and like drying off, and someone knocks at the door and you're just like, just a minute, and then they would just straight up open the door and walk in on you, and you'd be like, what the fuck? I said just a minute. That's what it looks like he's doing. It looks like someone just walked in on him getting out of the shower while he had his, trying to get his towel around himself, which for me completely eclipses the possibility of a Chaos Dwarf. Didn't we have locks? Oh my gosh. So what you're saying is that it would be perfectly acceptable for someone to use the lock in the bathroom. Yeah, I got in trouble about that a couple of times because I would lock the bathroom. People would be like, why would you lock it around your family? I know my family. I don't trust any of them. But just to wrap it up on that one, love the look of that model there. That Chaos Dwarf, if that's what he is, I reckon it is. Like, just looking at the knees, the feet, the arms, everything, that head is spectacular. However, far eclipsed by the poor little Skelly boy who desperately, desperately needs to take a slash. He's obviously real desperate there. But it's really cool. I like to see that that's kind of what we're getting. Warcry interests me. I don't know if I'll dabble too hard or where I'll go, but it looks rad. The models at least look real dynamic, and we'll see as rules and stuff come out. But for right now, that's about it. It's basically like we're losing light, got to do a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to balance everything on this beautiful little system, but it looks like it's worked, which I'm real stoked about. Yeah, I'm digging that. I lock the bathroom door and I live alone. You know why? Because you don't want to be surprised. Like, what could be worse than going to the bathroom, knowing that you live alone, and then the bathroom door opening? That would be terrifying. I think somewhere there's a short story in that. Yeah, Danny Paints, if you're 100% right. If it remains just Chaos, I don't know. However, like the conversion opportunities, all of that, maybe it'll be a bit like Shadespire and then Nightvault after it, where it starts out as a core kind of group and then expands. That would be really cool. They've obviously a lot of scope to it. I almost dig the idea that you slowly like build up and slowly like work your way up as a warband. Like, that sounds very Mordheim. I remember playing the really, really old Warhammer stuff from the world that was like Warbands of Chaos, where you started with a hero and a couple of others and your warband built up. Really dug that. Arco, haven't seen the one that hints towards one of the rumor pictures. Have not yet. But actually that would kind of match with the medallions and that. You're talking about the one with lots of money and gold? Perhaps, maybe? Because I saw that and I thought, like, Greasiest Goldtooth. I was like, bring back my big fat king. He's the raddest. But yeah, look, as far as this stream goes, we're probably going to wrap it up in the next couple of minutes. You guys are absolute legends. This was just a first off, just to test the tech, make sure everything's working, and it looks like it is. However, before I go, I do actually have a statement that I have to read out. So this was given to me by the great Mr. Dan Brewer, who obviously is the current king of the SAGT after winning with his Skaven. And he sent me oh yes, it's a beautiful sunset, isn't it? Except it's real weird. Here, the sun like moves like diagonally. Like, it doesn't just go up and down like it did back home. It's like it starts here and then just gets there and then goes, nah, mate, gonna go over here, nah, fuck yeah, and then just slips off the side, which makes it really hard to know when I'm gonna get blinded by sun just shining between buildings as it like dances its way through. Basically, So to give you a cheeky little quote from the man himself who did win SAGT. Now, previously he tweeted just a cheeky little one about his Doom Wheel, if I can find him, there it is. So he tweeted that during the event, his Doom Wheel killed a Vampire Lord, a unit of Blade Geists, itself, another Vampire Lord, a unit of Dryads, a unit of Kurnoth Hunters, itself, some Clan Rats, some Elf Ponies, a Bray Shaman, and Kyric Acolytes. So his Doom Wheel did real good and was just running over a shit ton of things. But then I asked him if he would like to give a comment or a statement, because obviously it's a different time zone over in Australia. Would he have anything he'd like to say to everyone on today's show, where I was talking about how well he did and everything? And his comment is as follows. And he also, just for the record, asked me to read everything that's in the brackets and please read in a British accent. So what you're about to experience is probably a terrible British accent as I try to read his words. The one thing I had that no one else possessed, it was a Doom Wheel. A Doom Wheel built incorrectly I did not realize until 90% through subassembly. No one else had a Doom Wheel. Is this a coincidence? It can't be. As he mowed his way along the flat earth, he destroyed hundreds in his path. Sometimes some clan rats got in the way. And what does the engineer in a Doom Wheel have that others do not? A beard. Look closely, he has a big fuck-off rat beard. So he is now the Beard Wheel. Now finally beards can win tournaments. No longer will beards be subjected to 7th or whatever the fuck place Dan came at CanCon in 2017. It doesn't fucking matter. They're champions now. So yeah, that was his comment. Real glad that in giving me a comment, he chose to throw shade at the beards, which is of course his move. Sorry, he has now just messaged me. I'm guessing that means that he watched it. And yep, that is a terrible British accent is the update that I am reading from the rest of the world. Okay, well, just so the messages lighting up my phone are telling me that that was fucking shithouse. But you in the chat, I love you guys. You're fucking legends. Definitely not a public school accent. Yep, fair enough. Don't really know that much. Privately taught. Yep, it was. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Attenborough was mostly probably the best thing I have to go by. Breathtaking. Oh, Slanice, you think that was as in breathtakingly bad or breathtakingly good? Breath can be taken in a number of different ways. Yeah, okay, so there's a lot of people offering to help me with my British accent. And you guys, while you're lovely people, I recognize it's not good. I recognize it's not good. Fortunately, I'm living in America where my British accent being terrible isn't bad. Now, Arkan posting this little link. Oh, okay, baby. I'm just having a cheeky little look there. Oh, I like what I see. Yeah, okay, I dig it. That little like hooky thingy could be the top of a thing. Any ideas? Like just having a look at them. Breathtaking like a tracheotomy. Yep, great. Just like someone who's been smoking all their life. Good. So yeah, Arco, just had a look at that little link. Anyone who hasn't, scroll back up in the chat just a little bit and have a cheeky look at the link Arco posted from Discord. It definitely does look like they kind of suit. Looks like maybe the end of a spear tip. The model, was it like Darkling Covens or potentially some kind of Sisters thing? Like it almost, if you have a look at it, and I know that I'm probably coming late to like the Theory Hammer party, but looking at the model, it's got a little kind of ring thing around its head, which is a very Stormcast vibe. So yeah, if that's from the Warband trailer, that almost reads as something Order, like that ring with points around the head, very Stormcast, looks a lot like their thing. So who knows? Maybe there is going to be a new chamber open. That's logically the next step, right? New Stormcast battle tome. That's where we'd go with that for sure. But yeah, look, that's awesome. Can't wait to see where that goes. So what we're going to be doing every Monday, 7:30 Western, wherever the fuck I am time. is going to be the show. This one's just been a cheeky little 30-minute one while I test out all the stuff, just bring up a little bit of update about the SAGT. Next week we're going to have facts and everything like that. If you have wicked as, like, if you've got events or anything like that, hit me up on Twitter, which you can see just under the little thing there, at Dan Unsupervised, I think is my thing. Yeah, that's my thing, at Dan Unsupervised. Let me know any events that you've got coming up, Canada, America, even over in London and the UK, because the beautiful thing about not being in Australia anymore is that travel is a lot faster, a lot cheaper, and a lot easier. So I can come out, can't wait to meet lots of War Dolly players. If you're anywhere in the area, that'd be awesome. But that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much. As always, if you're a subscriber, if you're a Patreon member, if you're both, if you're whatever, you're a beautiful person. And if I ever get to meet you, please let me know. I'll give you a great big cuddle. I love hugs. But it's great to finally be here. It's lovely to finally be talking to some of you in your own time zone, which is freaking wicked. Those signing in from somewhere in the UK, it's like 3 a.m. So like just snaps for you. Good job. Those who are local, lovely to meet you. And to anyone that I've met so far just around Vancouver, thank you so much. You've been legends. You're super friendly, super welcoming, and I can't wait to be doing more War Dollies and meeting everybody. So as far as that goes, that's going to be it for today. It's been really awesome to meet you all, really awesome to make sure that everything works. And you know what the most exciting thing has been? The internet's worked. Bless. The internet has actually worked, which for those of you who caught any of the Australian shows, it was like pushing shit uphill with a sieve. There was just no way that things were going to work. So this has been wicked. I'm glad that things have worked. I can't wait to bring you more War Dolly news and updates. Yes, Arco, I moved all the way from Sydney, Australia to Vancouver. So I'm now coming to you from North America. And Jordo is in Australia. I assume probably still getting bitten by spiders. That was part of the reason I got out there, man. Just spiders freaking everywhere. And did you see his hand? It got like savaged. But yeah, well, no, actually, to be fair, I tried to smuggle him over in a suitcase. Unfortunately, only one of the passenger compartments, like for suitcases, are pressurized during flight. So it was like negative 40 degrees and he's dead. No, Arco, I escaped. Remo, so sad you didn't catch it from the start. Don't stress though, you can watch it all back, like right here. It'll be there, it should be there for like 7 days. Also, it's going to be every Monday, 7:30 p.m. local time, which is like local time for Vancouver. I assume that that's similar for most of the West Coast. I don't know. I don't know time zones. I don't know what has daylight savings and what doesn't. I don't know if you're on a mountain, in which case that's awesome that you get reception up there. But it's been wicked to meet you. It's Broadside Bash in San Diego in April. It's great. Okay, well, man, if you can do me a favor and shoot me, like tag me in a post or shoot me at something in Twitter at Dan Unsupervised, let me know about it. I'll 100% look into it because that's what I'm trying to do, is find tournaments all over America and Canada that I can get to. I know I've got one coming up, Wet Coast GT, which is, it's the one I'm spruiking at the moment because it's the one I know the most about. Bloke running it is an absolute legend. I've met him already. He was one of my first games here in Vancouver. There's 6 tickets left, which is freaking wicked. Apparently it's like tripled in size since last year, which is awesome. So to everyone that's signed in to see this little test run of an Aussie abroad, thank you. You're legends. I love you. And I guess I will see you in a week if I don't see you before. All right. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.